Who are maladaptive daydreamers? So besides what we already know about it being a psychological condition founded by E. Sommer, and the fact that it can become an addiction and it can become harmful in day-to-day life, who really are the people behind maladaptive daydreaming? Is there anything distinguishable that you could set them apart? Do they all like a certain kind of band, for example? Well, of course not that, but I set up some polls on Instagram. About 30 to 60 people answered per poll. I left them up for a couple of weeks, and I have the answers here, and I think that it's really interesting, some of the answers I got. And I think this can actually be pretty beneficial into learning more about maladaptive daydreaming, considering it's such a not known thing right now. So here's some of the questions that I put up, well, polls, and here are the results. The first thing I asked was, are you a procrastinator? About 40 people answered. 95% of people said yes, and 5% said no. I'm not actually surprised by this. Then I asked on a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you procrastinate? And most of the answers were between 8 and 9. Then I asked, do you consider yourself alternative compared to most people you interact with daily? For example, liking a type of music that most of the people at your school don't listen to, for example. 34 people voted for yes and 3 people voted for no, leaving 92% yes and 8% no. I kind of expected people who daydream to be a little bit different than, most of the crowd. Do you find that surprising? Because I don't find that surprising either. One thing I really, really, really wanted to know was if most of the people who daydream are into anime and stuff like that. Because most of the people that I've met who are maladaptive daydreamers, they're all into anime. So I expected like 95 or more people to say yes on this. But when I put up the poll, do you like anime, there was actually 21 votes for yes and 22 votes for no, leaving 49% yes and 51% no. And that actually really shocked me. I was like, surprised it was so divided. The next thing I asked was, would you say you are a sensitive person, a sensitive soul? And 35 people voted for yes, and 7 people voted for no, which was 83 to 17%. That actually really shocked me too. I mean, I didn't know what I was expecting when I asked that question, but I wonder why that is, why so many maladaptive daydreamers are sensitive. Maybe it is because of a certain trauma, because I know most people who are maladaptive daydreamers have gone through some sort of neglect or trauma, and maybe that's made them sensitive. The next thing that I asked was, do you have or have had obsessions with singers or YouTubers? I mean, like, how could you not have gone through, like, an obsession phase at some point in your life? But maybe it's more for maladaptive daydreamers. I don't know, I was curious. And 34 people said yes and 10 people said no. So that's 77% to 22%. The next question I asked was, do you currently or have had listened to NIGHTCORE? That was kind of along the anime thing, trying to see if most people kind of they were in that kind of crowd. And 17 people said yes and 25 people said no, so that was 40 to 60%. Which also kind of shocked me too, because most of the people that I've met do listen to NIGHTCORE and stuff like that, but I can't judge everybody off of the couple people I've met. I mean, I like NIGHTCORE. I don't understand why every picture of NIGHTCORE has to be like an anime chick, but I mean, music sounds better when it's sped up. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The next question was, are you introverted or extroverted? And as you can guess, 25 people voted for introverted and 6% for extroverted, leaving 81% to 19%. I was actually expecting a lot more people to vote for introverted. I was expecting it to be more in the 90s, but that's just also something that really surprised me. The next question I asked was, when you get angry, is it built up or spontaneous? And the reason why I asked that question was because a lot of times I find myself getting really angry over small things, and it's just spontaneous. Like, a lot of people I know, they're like, oh, I hold it in, and then it just bursts out. But for me, a lot of times I get really pissed off really quickly over small things, like feeling somebody's knee on the bus when I'm trying to listen to my music, or especially when somebody's interrupting my daydreaming time. I don't really know if that is something normal. I know a lot of people get like randomly pissed off, and that's fine, but it's really, really small things that really tick me off. So I just wanted to see if that was a normal thing. And 9 people voted for built up, and 22 people voted for spontaneous. So that's 29% to 71%. And that kind of shocked me, not really. It was the next question that really got me. I put, do you ever get unnecessarily furious because someone is interrupting your daydreaming? For example, somebody gently brushing up against you or needing you to do something small. And it was 32 votes for yes and 0 votes for no. That's 100%. That's the only 100% answer that I even got. And it really shocked the hell out of me. And it actually kind of made me feel better and less like weird about that kind of thing, knowing that a lot of people who are in this community do that too or have that. I don't know, that one, I think that one really took the toll on me. But let's move on to the next one. The next one was, how much daydreaming do you think is too much per day? 1 to 2 hours, 3 to 5 hours, or 6 to 10 hours. And the average answer was between 5 and 6 hours. That at first it was between 6 and 10 hours, and I was like, y'all some crazy ass mother. When I was younger, I used to daydream for like over 10 hours a day because I didn't go to school and there was a lot of other things going on in my life and I just had no responsibilities. But now I can only daydream between like maybe 2 or 3 hours, split up between the day. But yeah, so the next question I put, when you try not to daydream, do you feel an uncomfortable feeling that follows you until you do it, like a nagging feeling? 27 people voted yes and 3 people voted no. That's 85% to 15%. That like blew my mind because I feel like they understand what I mean when I say that. And it's, if you're not a maladaptive daydreamer, it's like this feeling that's kind of like, you know, if you really want to do something, like, but you're restraining yourself not to, like, you hear, you're trying to study, for example, and you hear your phone beep, and you're like, I'm not going to look at it, I'm going to keep doing my work, and it beeps again, and you're like, you get that feeling, like that itching feeling, like, check your phone, and then it goes off again, and you're like, alright. And that's, like, the only way I can explain that feeling, that weird feeling that's like, I need to daydream. I can't do anything. I can't just sit here in my bed. I can't just check my phone. I need to go back. It's almost like an addiction, the way it nags at you. I also left up a little bubble for people to explain or express how it feels for them, and the only answers I got for that was, I don't know how to explain it, but I know what you're talking about, but I don't know how to explain it. And that's the best way I can explain it. I put on the next question, how intense is that feeling from ignorable to inevitable? And the average answer, I'd say, would be between 60 and 75% on the inevitable side. The last question I asked was, do you listen to music and daydream? 37 people said yes, 2 people said no, 95% to 5%. And those were all the questions I asked. And I am really shocked by some of the answers. I think that it really gave me a new idea on who the community is in general. I already knew that maladaptive daydreamers could be literally anybody, but I think that knowledge got reinforced with some of these questions, and I really want to do something like this again. So you can follow me on Instagram for the next time I put on those polls. It's md.problems. It's not mdd anymore. If you like this video, let me know. If you have any ideas on new videos, let me know. You can DM me on Instagram if you want to talk. People DM me all the time just to talk about, daydreaming and stuff. I don't mind. I love it. I like making new friends. I hope this gave you an idea on who maladaptive daydreamers are, and I can't wait to do it again. See ya!